Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Royalty Now, where we bring you face-to-face with figures from the past. Pocahontas is one of those historical enigmas with a huge reputation, but a ton of question marks about her real life and appearance. Of course, we all know her from the 1995 Disney film, but it's not shocking to hear that what's shown in the movie is barely a shadow of the real Pocahontas. Today, we'll talk about what Pocahontas looked like in real life, and then reveal our recreations of her appearance at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. Many of the written details about Pocahontas come from European sources, and this includes her very name. Pocahontas, the name we're all familiar with, and the one she gave to the English settlers, was actually just a nickname, meaning something like playful one or curious child. Her real name was Matoaka. Pocahontas grew up in the Virginia Tidewater area of the United States, in a region called Senecomica, ruled by her father, the paramount chief of the Powhatan tribes. Powhatan was a tremendously respected figure, spending most of his life uniting over 30 tribes in the area through acts of diplomacy and force. Ultimately, the Powhatan alliance would consist of nearly 15,000 people by the beginning of the 1600s. The colonists of Jamestown arrived around 1607, when Pocahontas would have been about 11 or 12. Over the years, the tribe routinely helped the starving colonists by bringing gifts of food and supplies. Pocahontas often went along on these visits, and the English report her playing and doing cartwheels with the English boys. The colonists remarked that the Powhatan were tall, lean, and very strong. Although no illustrations of the Powhatan exist, we do have a description from author H.C. Roundtree, who says the Powhatan have coppery skin that was further darkened by the sun, with coarse, straight black hair, dark brown eyes, and wide faces with prominent cheekbones and heavy jaws. In terms of clothing and fashion, the Powhatan people used and decorated themselves with what was available to them. They were skilled hunters, so animal hide and furs were widely available. The basic dress was a deerskin apron for men and a deerskin dress for women. But to assume that Powhatan clothing was just one thing would be a huge error. It's kind of like asking what Americans wear today. The answer is that we have a basic uniform, usually a shirt and pants. But what that means looks different for everyone. Every Powhatan dressed however they wanted to. You could dye your deerskin many colors with natural dyes, deep red, orange, or even green. You could add a lot of fringe or embroidery to your cloak and decorate your skirt with beads, shells, or bone. There really was no limit, and it was all about individual expression. Of course, some of this was according to class. As the daughter of the paramount chief, Pocahontas would have had access to the finest and most precious materials like copper and freshwater pearls. While the Disney movie does get a lot wrong about this time in history, there are a lot of things they got right about the attire. For instance, in the movie, Pocahontas' father wears a cloak with raccoon tails hanging from it. This was actually based on a real cloak that John Smith described him wearing. The movie also gets basic deerskin attire, shell necklaces, and red paint worn by the tribes correct as well. Disney also brushes a tiny bit on one important aspect of Powhatan attire, and that was tattooing. Pocahontas in the film has a red armband tattoo that's based on real tattoo patterns shown in watercolors of the Sokotan people. Although she was young, there are children that are shown with tattoos. And as the daughter of the chief, these tattoos may have marked her as someone of importance. In terms of hairstyles, for women, hair was worn long and loose or braided at the back of the head. Men kept their hair long as well, sometimes shaving parts of their heads, and both sexes decorated their hair with feathers, shells, or animal bones. One thing I've really personally been valuing lately is a good night's rest. As I get older, sleep feels more and more luxurious, and how I sleep during the night really affects my day ahead. Beam Dream is a tasty nightcap that's filled with natural sleep-promoting ingredients. You would have to buy 5 or 6 individual supplements at the store to get what Beam gives you in one cup. My husband loves this stuff because not only does it help you fall asleep, but it helps you stay asleep, which is a huge challenge for him. When we're ready for bed, we just warm up the kettle and mix warm water with our go-to chocolate peanut butter flavor. It tastes kind of like a yummy hot chocolate drink, but with only 20 calories and no added sugar. It's also gluten and dairy-free. Right now, Beam is having their biggest sale ever. You don't want to miss your chance to give Beam a try. I know you're skeptical that a little hot chocolate drink can help you fall asleep and stay asleep, but please just give it a try and see for yourself. I truly can't recommend this product enough. Shop early access to Beam's biggest sale ever when you click shopbeam.com/RNS or scan the QR code and get up to 50% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. The discount auto-applies when you use my unique URL in the description below. The first time Pocahontas is specifically named in the history books is during the brutal winter of 1607, when, in the now iconic moment, a young Pocahontas threw herself over a settler named John Smith, saving his life. But unfortunately, over the years, the once peaceful relationship between the Native Americans and the colonists had grown fraught. When Pocahontas was in her teens, she even found herself captured by the English. As the daughter of the chief, she was a valuable hostage, and the English were hoping they could trade her back for captives and guns. While they were negotiating the terms of her release, Pocahontas was taken to Henrico, another small English settlement. There, she began to study the English language and learn about their religion. It's here that Pocahontas reportedly fell in love with the English colonist John Rolfe, and the two decided to marry, which actually led to a tentative peace between the English and the Powhatan Indians. She converted to Christianity and was baptized as Rebecca. When the Virginia Company of London, who had funded the exploration of Virginia and the settling of Jamestown, found out that Rolfe had married the daughter of the paramount chief, they wanted to take advantage. The Virginia Company extended an invitation to the Rolfes, an all-expense-paid trip back to London, where they would tour the country and even meet King James. It's during this time that we get the only known portrait of Pocahontas from her lifetime, and that's an engraving made by Simon de Pass. The portrait was essentially made for publicity. She's wearing English dress, and notably any tattoos she may have been omitted or covered. It was intended to show how well integrated she was into English society, how the natives could be made to adopt English ways, essentially that the exploration of Virginia and Jamestown were projects worth investing in. Now, engravings are obviously not the most delicate style of art. They tend to exaggerate features and wrinkles because there's not a lot of subtlety to the medium. However, de Pass was a celebrated and well-trained engraver. This is the only image of Pocahontas to work from, so we have to assume it's at least a little accurate. Let's check out the recreations. First, I'll show her in English dress, and then we'll transition her into her native dress. Keep in mind that the possible tattoos I've added are just examples of the types of tattoos she may have had. It's impossible to know exactly how she would have chosen to adorn herself. So, let's see Pocahontas brought to life now. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video.